In this episode of our podcast, we dive deep into season three's of Space Adventure Hour, the holodeck parody that's got fans split. Was it a loving homage to classic Trek or a meta gimmick gone too far? We unpack, review, debate the Shatner impression, and explore whether La'an's noir turn and Uhura's last frontier moment were inspired tributes or tonal missteps. We also tackle the question, do 10 episode seasons have room for gimmick episodes? Join us for our sharp analysis, fun speculation, and your chance to weigh in on whether this adventure hour truly delivered. Hell yeah! Let's look at today's episode titled A Space Adventure Hour. What do you think about this title?
I like the title. It's a bit quirky. And so it was just that for me an adventure because when it started playing, I was like, what the hell is going on? It was really, really quirky. And so we just see a lot of, I'm gonna say the words old hat things happening. Just kind of that nostalgic Star Trek happening, but who done it married with it. And so there was a lot going on in this episode for a space hour adventure, down to like what we would see as like a virtual reality type thing. And so yeah, a space hour adventure. It was indeed that.
Okay, all right. I didn't know whether or not you would be able to catch that, considering, your background with Star Trek. Corey, nice to have you with us. Good morning.
Well,
I am alive. He is risen.
There has a reason.
Okay, all right. So let's get straight into it, y'all. Do you feel the whimsy and meta humor enhanced or detracted from the story? Let's start with Corey. Do you think us having to know everything that we know about Star Trek enhanced or detracted from the story?
So I think it's a little bit of both. I think that it did enhance the story because those of us that got it, especially the joke about diction, and the cracks about, they were making about his diction, because anyone that's watched the original knows that Kirk his slow pauses are everything, and his slow dialogue is everything. But if you are new to Star Trek and Strange New Worlds is your first foray into the universe, you may have been a little confused by the nuance, right? And the hokiness, because, back in the day, that was what Star Trek looked like. The hokiness was what it was, right? But I will bring it back to that I can't remember who was saying it, but I think it was the talent agent who was talking about the show being a mirror into the real world and helping people understand the complexities of life, and a very open but real interpretation of what Star Trek means and why it's so important. I think that kind of tied it together for those that didn't know.
Hell yeah, did it enhance or detract from the story?
I'm gonna be a fence straddler as well and say kind of a little bit of both, because again, as a person who is a neophyte Trekkie, to a very large degree, from childhood, I do kind of remember seeing some of it, even if I can't say exactly what happened. And so I'm getting that feeling of nostalgia. So I always welcome that. I'll even go back and watch movies from the 60s, 70s, 80s now, down to your black exploitation films, and still enjoy them. And so them kind of taking that time jump back and then making it a parody, I thought was a good additive for me. And I'm silly. So that was that. And then at the same time, like I said, just looking at it initially was like, what the hell is going on? What are they doing? What are they doing? How is this going to be helpful? But yeah, for me, a little bit of both.
As for me, I hated it. I hated every second of it until there were funny moments. And Corey, you put your finger on all of the funny moments when he was like, he said, "My diction."
I laughed out loud. Raymond was looking at me like, what's so funny about that? I'm like, never mind.
And then Uhura's monologue, like I was just like, yes, yes, you went there, you went there, you went there. There were a couple other things. They brought in what was her name? Lucille Ball. Um, she was kind of woven in just a little bit, and I really felt proud about that. The fact that they found a way to include her story, or I should say, how she helped to bring Star Trek to life. I found that to be really heartwarming. Warming. Next question: holodeck plots in Star Trek are well-worn territory. Was A Space Adventure Hour a fresh twist on that staple or just another rehash? Let's go with El Yeah. I know El Yeah's you don't know a whole lot about holodecks, but you did get to see the holodeck. Um did did it do it justice?
And so my knowledge base, when I think holodeck, like I said, I kind of think VR, but a step further. Simply because you feel the things or whatever. And so simply because Star Trek is futuristic, it's all the things you're doing this exploring, and at the same time in an escape room, so to speak. Um, I also think it added to. I think they did a good job. So as far as it being a rehash, I'm not entirely sure. But I would figure that a holodeck would be something that they've explored in Star Trek before.
Corey?
So I love the holodeck because in Next Generation, there were plenty of episodes that featured the holodeck. The holodeck was a central character in some of those episodes, and it was the antagonist in some, it helped move the story along for certain relationships. And I thought it was just cool for them to show, the beginning of the holodeck, right, and how it started, and etc., right, and how they used Enterprise to test it and stuff like that. When those of us that watch next, the following seasons and following iterations of Star Trek in terms of timeline, know that it's such a central part of the show. I don't think that what I do think rehash was they've done this several times in New Worlds, where they've done some sort of time displacement or something to where the characters are playing a character of themselves and it's not really them, and they're playing characters in a different book or alternate dimension, or some malevolent force is putting them in this situation. So I do feel like they have rehashed this similar plot line a few times. While I didn't hate it because it was holodeck theme, I do think that they may need to want to lay off on that a little bit, right? We've had two. This is the second one this episode, and we had perhaps two the previous season. While they were enjoyable, I want to see the character relationships in real time, not playing fantasy.
That's the reason I did not enjoy it. Let me tell you why. And again, Corey, you kind of you touched on it. So, for instance, when Spock became the bad guy, it was kind of like, oh, okay, this goes all the way back to when Geordi basically challenged Data, find somebody who can actually beat you, and that was the character of Spock in that whole story. And so too many episodes where in TNG and Deep Space Nine where the holodeck, and I might even add Voyager, where the holodeck, something going on in the holodeck could have destroyed the ship. We had seen it so many times, and it was just like, this is predictable. This is like, give me something new, something fresh. But I think the fact that they had included Star Trek's origins into the storyline, it made it passable. It made it passable. All right, next question. The episode employs a deliberately bad Shatner impression via Paul Wesley. Was this funny meta commentary or did it feel like mockery? Let's start with who went first the last time. Let's start with Corey.
I think it was a little bit of. I'm gonna straddle the fence. I think it's a little bit of both, but that in pop culture, everyone loves and mocks Captain Kirk's diction, right? In Star Trek, right? It is just a pop culture thing, and we all do it. And at the time, they probably thought it was great, or maybe they didn't. But I think that it was mocking, but also it was done in love, because it's kind of like how you can mock your cousins and you can talk trash about your cousins, but can't nobody else outside the family do it. And that's the same sense for me, right? And also, side note, I would love. I was thinking this last night when they were kind of doing this whole rendition. I would love for him to have a guest appearance on the show. And did I miss it? Did it happen already? But I know he's advanced age now. But I would love for him to be, just some sort of way, kind of a throwback to him and his character in the show. I would love to see that. But I think it was a level, just kind of tongue in cheek, just kind of nostalgia, not meaning harm, but just kind of recognizing it.
Oh yeah.
And so obviously didn't watch the old show like that, but just a bit of enough to not feel like it's necessarily a mockery of Shatner in particular, but just a very humorous, lighthearted way to look back from how far we've advanced in technology. Just the entire scene, the whole show was just like, we can see how we're watching Star Trek now, and how the whole cinematography is laid out versus how everything was kind of robotic and just over the top and just, I don't want to say ill
Campy.
placed.
It was campy. It was.
And so I enjoyed that, more than just like in a disrespectful way. I thought it paid homage, because hey, here we are, we're able to recreate this show, but let's go backwards a little bit and see how the old heads did it, and so I enjoyed that.
Okay. So La'an steps into the role of Amelia Moon in a film noir parody. Did this fit her character arc, or did it distract from her development? Elia?
So I did find it a little bit distracting from her character arc, but I didn't think it was necessarily a bad thing. La'an, she had her moments with Kirk, as far as kind of having a storyline, as opposed to the not Battelle, well, because that was a side note, the Chapel and Spock overtones and soap opera type drama constantly going on. And so she kind of had a moment, and instead of just kind of being so hard and so serious all the time, she was able to kind of have a playful moment and do something that was really fun for her, as opposed to obsessing over the Gorn and the million of other things that plague her mind constantly. So I didn't feel like it destroyed her art necessarily, even though it deviated from it. I think it added to her. It gave her more humanity.
Corey?
I felt like it kind of distracted a little bit because I wanted to kind of get to more her and Spock interaction outside of again, as I said earlier, outside of this this mechanism in the story. While I appreciated it, I loved it. I just thought that I just would have liked to have seen it a little bit different. I'd love the episode, right? But some of the nuances kind of, I feel like she's kind of taken a little bit of a backseat since the beginning of this season, kind of sort of. And I am very curious about her journey as the show progresses.
Okay. There's a hint of spiritual commentary via Uhura's holographic pitch about the value of the Last Frontier TV show. Did this resonate as a meaningful homage, or just surface level fan service? Corey?
It was fan service, but I mean, it was fan service before a show that knows who its audience is, right? They're looking for the teasers, they're looking for the wordplay, they're looking for the quips, they're looking for all the things that draw inferences from the other beloved shows that they've watched over the years, including this iteration. So I think it was fan service, but I don't think it was bad. because it is true, right? What she was saying.
Hell yeah.
I don't entirely understand the question. Can you repeat it, please? I picked up on fan service. I heard the word spiritual, but I kind of missed pieces of what you were saying. I'm sorry.
So towards the end of the episode, I heard her start talking about um, why the last frontier, what would have been good for humanity, if you will, because of its social commentary about the state of humanity at that particular point in time in the United States history. And so the question is basically, did it resonate in terms of it being an homage, or was it just surface level fan service?
So, from my limited base, I'm gonna say fan service because I got what I needed from it. Being a new fan of the show, so I'd say that. But I mean, could it not be both? Also paying homage. I'm gonna be a fence straddler all episodes. This is what I got. This is
Especially
what
for
I
these questions. But
got.
but here's the thing. Especially with these questions.
What'd you
But
say?
here's the thing. I say especially with these questions. So here's the thing. Star Trek is known for its barrier breaking in terms of race, like the first generational kiss between Kurt and Uhura and etc. Right, and the relationships that it showed at for its time. So the history of Star Trek is all of those things that they were talking about, right? And the monologues and the descriptions that Uhura's character make in the show, all those things are Star Trek. And I think it is fan service, but that is what the show is. The show is a mirror to society using sci-fi and fantasy concepts to break it down for everyone to understand in a way.
So for myself, I think it's an homage, and I say that because of, again, similar to what Corey just said, the fact that they used Uhura's character to be the one to say the thing, right? She by herself, being a woman of color, it typified some things that were groundbreaking within Star Trek. Even when you think of the character of Number One, they got rid of Number One because she was a woman, point blank, period. So what did he do? He put a black woman in the communications role, kind of like in the background of everything, and yet she was seen every day. Well, not every day, but in every episode, well, most episodes. God, I keep making these caveats. Um, but she was also a black character, and the fact that the black character in this show um was the one who brought that out, who said the thing that a lot of people didn't want to say back then because they couldn't. Now she's saying it. Now it was great to hear, and from that particular character it meant a lot. All right. So the producer of the show, a model turned producer, sounded awfully close to Lucille Ball and the story behind the original creation of Star Trek. Did anyone catch that, or was it just me?
I know the backstory, the history a little bit. I don't quite know all of the pieces to it. So I know that there was some inference that he was making. I just couldn't place what.
Okay, so the character that Number One played, remember she died fairly early in the
Mhm.
episode. Well, yeah, in the episode, she died fairly early, and what she was saying was basically, "Hey, I heard the pitch." Part of the real backstory was Gene Roddenberry. He was shopping this story, this television show, to a lot of different places, and he had almost given up. Lucille Ball heard it. She was trying to get her production company off the ground. She loved the pitch. She loved the fact that there would be a woman Number One. She loved the fact that there would be a black doctor. She loved all of those things because it was groundbreaking, and she herself was groundbreaking in the fact that she was trying to do what she was trying to do, all the way back in the '60s, and so she supported it. Um, and what she was saying in this particular episode was, no, I wouldn't have killed him because I needed him. I needed this to work, because it would be part of her legacy.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, um, to me, it was just a great callback, if you will, to that particular point in time. Even the way that they had her character looking, her hair wasn't 100% red, but it was a strawberry blonde, if you will. And so it was like, this is Lucille Ball. This is Lucille Ball.
Mhm.
um. Oh well. Next.
But
um.
I like the fact that even if you didn't know the whole history, like for a casual viewer, right, you would know, it would give you enough of a tease in this episode to make you want to find out, right? To make you a little bit more curious about the history, the backstory. And I imagine that there probably were some hits on Google about the foundings of Star Trek and what some of those little pieces were throughout the show, that episode.
It's these types of conversations that make me feel like, dang, I wish I had the prior knowledge, because I'm certain that I've missed several allusions in this episode. And so I feel like that would have enriched it just a bit more for me had I had that prior knowledge. Still very enjoyable, but like, dang, I feel like I'm late to the party.
No,
I didn't
no,
get
no,
the dress code.
yeah, that is embarrassing when you don't know how to dress. Um, no, but the only reason I knew about that was I think my aunt got me a book about Star Trek and I read it and I was just like, damn, know all this. It was like it was spilling all the tea. Just to go back just a little bit, like when he said Dick Shun, to me that was like a double entendre because it was talking about the way in which he spoke, but also talking about his clothes because in Star Trek you could see all of William Shatner's goods on every episode. You can see. Oh yeah. So to me it was like okay. Anyway, the character
He
Nurse
was fairly attractive too. Back in the day, he really was. So I can imagine, he was tearing Star Trek up behind the scenes.
Oh, he was. He was. Him and Nichelle Nichols. Him and I mean, he had just gotten divorced. He was killing it. He was killing it. All right. The character Nurse Chapel played sounded a lot like Majel Barrett. Now, Majel Barrett was the original number one, and we saw her a little bit later in TNG. She played Deanna Troy's mother. Um, So basically, what I'm saying is, in this particular episode, there was a comment that Nurse Chapel said. She said, "My lines got shorter and shorter with every episode. Not to mention the rumor of her having an affair with the dead man. Now, we all know that at that particular point in time, she had a relationship with Gene Roddenberry. She hadn't married him yet, but she had a relationship with Gene Roddenberry, which was why she was cast as number one.
Mm.
Did anyone catch that? Corey, you're nodding your head.
So I'm not mad because I knew a piece of that, but I did not realize all of the backstory. Like I missed that episode in TNG when Deanna Troy's character, her mother, was on. So I didn't really get that, but I did kind of know something about a supposed relationship. So much drama behind the scenes of Star Trek. So much.
Yeah, especially the original show. The original
The
show had a
original
lot
show.
of
The original
yeah.
show. I know it was because it was the 60s and it was all this unrest, but baby, those hormones and those emotions were flying.
Yeah, any thoughts?
Again, late to the party. But even with the tone and the way in which things are presented. You obviously know that there's more lingering than just the surface level words. So I'm realizing that there is more behind what's being said, but just not having the prior knowledge to just get it. But just picking up on tone and interactions. I can pick up on the clips, just don't know what they mean.
Well, I want to get you all on record, because you all are fin straddling today. Some viewers praised the episode as a fun love letter to Star Trek, while others found it derivative and overdone. Which side do you lean toward, and why? I see
I
those.
think
Those.
I think that it was a love letter to Star Trek because the original Star Trek was hokey. I mean, it was. I mean, cardboard sets, the primary colors, the beep beeps. I mean, it was hokey. It was. And we have to understand that. We have to realize that, and it's unfair to the show to look at it through the eyes of modern TV, right? I will also say, again, like I've said in prior episodes, they really didn't need to do another, you know, costume episode, right? Where they're putting on a role with their role, right? But I guess I'm straddling the fence here. I loved it, but I get where there were some pieces of it that were overdone. But I still think because it's Star Trek, we got to give it to them, right? We got to give it to them because that is Star Trek. It is always a little overdone. We got to give it to them.
Elliot.
All right, I'm going on the love letter side, and I'm gonna stay on that side of the fence since out of 98% of this episode had zero to contribute. So I'm gonna say it was a love letter. And agreeing with Corey, even being new here, from the first episode, everything was just extra. The effects, just I mean, seriously, we're already in the future. That's a lot right there.
Right.
And so the humor, that you maybe had maybe one or two dark episodes, maybe kind of sort of, but the lightheartedness is always kind of shining through a little bit more. And so I think it was just that. I think it was a love letter. I don't think it was a disservice to the Star Trek universe. But again, I'm saying it because I'm coming at the show with a new lens.
Okay. I have a wondering. It was just a wondering of mine. The decoy crisis was introduced and resolved almost instantly, undercutting tension. Did you feel the stakes ever felt real? And when I say the decoy crisis, I'm talking about the neutron star and Scotty having to reroute power, and at the last minute, the ship escaped. Did that undercut the tension? The fact that he was able to solve it so quickly?
Yes.
Expound, please.
I say yes because it kind of goes back to what I was saying is that the holographic parts of the show were a catalyst for them to get to that point, but I almost think you could have gotten there without her actually having to step through the holo. You know what I'm saying? Through the holodeck, right? And I think the neutron star piece, either you did it or you left it out. You could have just had her being stuck in the holodeck. That could have been the episode. You didn't need the neutron star, so to speak, because the tension didn't really add tension. It was just another thing that was going on in the back of their.
You forgot about it.
Yeah, you just kind of. Yeah, I was too kind of looking at all the other stuff and the play between characters and trying to figure out where they were going and what was going to go on with this, to where I really didn't care about the neutron star piece of it. So, yeah.
Elliot.
Like I said, you just forgot about it. I got more caught up in the whole whodunit of it all more than anything, and just the things that are playing in the background with Spock and what is her name? La'an.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, La'an. So yeah, you just kind of forgot about it. So I didn't think it was really necessary.
Okay. So speaking of Spock, so Spock has his own character arc, right? What we saw in this particular episode is his increasing romantic focus strengthening his story or watering down his legacy.
Ooh.
They making Spock real tender dick. And I
Yeah.
don't know no other way to put it. I don't know any other way to put it. And part of what makes him so yummy and come hither is the fact that you can't have him.
Right.
And so whenever he becomes more and more human, whereas I love to see him dance, it's beautiful. I'm glad that Lan is getting her son. It's kind of it's taking the spot out of spot a little bit for me. He's still fine as hell, and so again, it's just like that just you can't have him. That makes them even more sick.
Ain't he fine? So I totally agree. I think that they were just okay. So they kind of resolved the wife situation or fiance situation faster than I think what they were supposed to have. Because I felt like they were actually married, weren't they? T1, I can't think of her name right now. In the to bring in the lore of the show, I feel like they were married actually, and it actually was a lot more into that. Unless this is supposed to happen in the future when they're, when they kind of maybe get back together. Okay, so it was
Correct.
supposed to be just a. So I kind of feel like in the course of 3 seasons, Spock has been in 3 different relationships. And in the second season, he was in between 2 relationships with Nurse Chapel and trying to getting out of the other. Now he's going into the 3rd season. Now we into another relationship. Come on now. I mean, come on now. Spock never expressed that much emotion about anything. It was always whenever he did express emotion, it was almost kind of like a shock, right? Or it was really out of character for him because he was that catalyst on the show of being the strong, reserved. He held back on his emotions, and I'm curious as to how they bring about this more, like this Spock that's more relatable back to the knowledge of who Spock really is. Like, are we concerned about that? Like I don't. I agree. I think he's a little too. There's other characters that I like to kind of see a little bit more focus on in terms of romantic relationships, other than Spock.
Oh yeah, it seems like there was something you wanted to add on to what Corey was saying.
I just, I don't know how many times Spock has had his shirt off in this season, and that's a problem. And so, yeah, that's it.
I like it though.
That's all.
I like it.
It's not enough.
I like
We
it.
need more.
It was for me, it was how quick. It was like one episode you getting over old girl, the next episode it's clear you have some feelings for Laan. It's like, man, are we talking about rebound that quick? Like,
Right.
do rebounds happen that quick? And should Spock be the one to rebound so quick? Like, what's
No.
what I'm like it I don't know if it fits. I don't know if it fits, and I'm scared. I want this to end, and I want it to end quickly.
I do too. Because not that I dislike it, but I want it to end. Like I'm happy for her because Lord knows she's been needing something. But I don't know if it's Spock that she needs, Maybe she discovers something else about her sexuality. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Her and Ortega's. That's who.
Nah, Ortega's a little cute. It's something about the fact that you can drive so fast in that little ship. Like, cute. Go ahead.
Ortega's is cute. She is cute. So I would actually like to see something like that play, or just, and not Spock. And while we own it, can we also say I'm not a fan of Captain Pike and what's her name that has the Gorn splice within her? Cut that. I don't need that.
Why, Corey? Why?
I don't like her character.
He's gone. Hey, let him have it. He has gone this entire entire episode.
I like the
Think
Gorn
about-
piece of it. I like the Gorn splicing of the DNA and what that means for her character. But I would like the arc to end with her fully transforming or becoming like some kind of hybrid human Gorn thing, and it just doesn't work out. And she protects, and like she saves his life by eating the head off of something or something crazy, right? I want to see something like that because I don't really like them together. I don't.
Let's save this discussion for the next episode because
Yeah.
we're really gonna talk about it then. All right, so critics hit on the brevity of 10 episode seasons, making gimmick episodes like this feel like a misalignment of priorities. Did it merit the screen time? The fact that they put this gimmick episode, did it warrant screen time?
I enjoyed it, but if I'm being honest, I don't feel like it was a necessary episode. I absolutely don't. Yeah, I don't feel like it was a necessary episode, or at least not in this way. Again, still found it enjoyable, but they could have gone a different direction and still paid homage, in so many different ways. So I don't think it was a necessary episode. I don't.
Or
I agree. Because like I said, earlier, I think they've done this in some iteration of this multiple times throughout the show, and I think it's just a fallback for them when they're like, "Oh, we want to say something poignant, or we want something to come across, but we don't want to do it within the confines of where they actually are. Let's make an alternate reality, yay!" So I think it was a kind of a cop out in a way. But I enjoyed the homage, right? I really did. But I feel like too it could have done a different way. Still enjoy the episode. Didn't hate the episode, but yeah.
all right, this question is just for fun. Did the TOS style opening, complete with its 84-month mission title card, make you smile or roll your eyes?
At first, I went back to the previous episode. Did I miss something? Did I fast forward to something? What is going on? What happened? Wait a minute. And then I after I did that, I was like, okay, no, this is supposed to be like this. I was like, oh, I get it. That's cute. Okay. That was my exact reaction.
Hell yeah.
Repeat the question. I know it's reference to the original series. What's the
So the opening sequence, when we see Captain Kirk doing his acting and all of that, and we see the fake alien, did it make you smile or roll your eyes?
Oh, I cackled aplenty. I did. I absolutely did. And so again, just from seeing what I did as a child, this thing's just about appropriate.
It did. It did. I totally got it after I actually was focused, right? I was like, oh,
My TV glitching. Oh no. All right.
What is this? What's those cardboard sets? What is going on? I was completely flustered for about 2 minutes. I was like, wait.
No,
Let me
baby.
rewind.
Yes, I felt everything that all of you all were feeling. I was like, what am I watching? And I was just like, hold up, wait a minute. What I'm forgetting something because I'm famous for getting something, right? So I did just like Corey, like I went back and I was just like, what am I not? And then like as the episode went on, and truth, let me be honest with you. After a while, I lost interest, right? Because I was watching it in front of someone who typically doesn't watch Star Trek. And so I was hoping for a great episode, and we got this. And I was just like, he has lost all interest in Star Trek for the rest of time. But I continued to watch, and I caught it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
all right, I see what's going on. But it took all of that. It was like, nah, like you gotta realize who your audience is, and starting the way they started. I don't know if that was a great way to hook people, especially after the previous episode that we had. Like it was a good episode, and to then go here, it was
Mhm.
like it was a mind trip for a second. All right. From a scale of Mayfair to 10, how would you rate this particular episode? Well,
Oh
gotta
damn.
start with Elia first. Mayfair to 10, how would you rate this episode?
From Mayfair to 10, and I've been rating these episodes pretty high, but for me, this one's probably landing around a 6 for me. Probably a
Or
6.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it about a 6.5. Just because the action wasn't there, the typical action that you see in this show, it wasn't quite there. The drama quite wasn't what I wanted. Um, the nostalgia really is what pushes it to a 6. If it wasn't for the nostalgia, maybe a little bit lower than that, if I'm being honest. But it was still enjoyable. I say all that to say it was still enjoyable. It was not horrible. It was enjoyable. It just, you know.
for me, it was a 5. It was a 5 because of everything, like even the questions that I did not enjoy this episode. I did not enjoy this episode. I do understand its worthiness.
Mhm.
But it was just a 5 for me. It was like you're gonna produce all these other shows, and this is like your flagship, right? We know that what's it called? Starfleet Academy is coming up soon, and you gonna throw this one in there? It's like, man, you got this entire season has got to be on point. On point, and you threw this particular episode in there. I know it was a filler episode. I know they told us that Strange New Worlds would not be like Deep Space Nine and Picard and Discovery, and that it wouldn't have like a seasonal arc. But at the same time, it was like they could have done something better. They could have done something better. And the only thing that was holding this this episode with the season's arc was the relationship between Spock and La'an.
Yep.
And like I said before, like I'm not invested in that. And because I'm not invested in that, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's like you have all of that body, you got all of that equipment, and it's time. We ready to go and colossal in now.
Yeah.
To say
Well, it
he
could have
was
been like an extra little bonus or something, right? That
no,
they
no,
could
no,
have.
no. You only get 10. You only get 10. And if he's practicing in his room, I'm like, oh yeah, practice with your shirt off.
Yes. Get some draws.
Really, that's what I wanted, Corey. I wanted to say it, but you said it.
Yeah, with some draws. Your shirt off in your draws. Like
And
totally unspock like, right? She walks in on him, and she's just like as shocked as we would be if we saw a motionless, detached Spock in his private quarters. Like how much drama would that be, and how he would have gotten surprised and read and whatever it would have did. I mean,
This show would have got some extra points. It would have got some
it
extra
would
points.
have. Because Ethan Peck is fine.
Lovecraft, from Mayfair to Lovecraft, okay? You've been all the way on the other end, okay?
Ethan Peck is him. He is fine.
If you're listening, Spock, shirtless, invisible draws, make it happen.
I mean, the draws could have been visible. I mean, it could have been some kind of Vulcan. It could have been like a V, and the V was metallic, and it was like some short trunks, and they were like green or whatever. And they were like in real ceremonial looking. Like it.
You thought about this. You have thought about this. More about this later. I want to share this fantasy.
He's sweating and it's all see through. Yeah. Give it
to and
me.
with just a little mesh pocket covering up the front, like it could have been some kind of ceremonial practicing something, like it could have been, like seriously. Look. Side note: Ethan Peck's grandfather is Gregory Peck from To Kill a Mockingbird, and his grandfather could get it too.
Leaving no stone unturned.
You
need that's your slogan.
Neither one of them. Neither stone should be.
His daddy could have left him where he was at, but his granddaddy and him.
Yo, thank y'all so very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share on all your social media. But we're gonna be back in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes, and we're going to cover the next episode, which is Through the Lens of Time. Until next time, y'all have a good one.